Yes, good afternoon. Paul Hawksbee and Jonny Baker here on talkSPORT. And interesting times with England, changing the guard, young players being brought into the white ball setup, even into the test setup for the remaining two tests, and one or two much-loved players looking like that could be it for them. We thought we would get the thoughts of the former England fast bowler, talkSPORT's very own Steve Harmison. Good afternoon, Harmy.
Hey, Harmy.
Afternoon, boys. How are we doing?
Yeah,
good,
not so
you.
bad. With Jonny Bairstow and Moeen out of the setup, and it was interesting. Luke Wright, the selector, was saying that's not it for Jonny. You know, he's the sort of guy who could always bounce back. What do you think? Do you think that could be it internationally for him?
Yeah, it's a difficult one with Jonny because you never want to write him off, and you shouldn't write him off because he's too good of a player, he's too good of a character, and I think what he's achieved, will be interesting to see how that conversation went. And it is right to look forward, and I get that. I think the keys are in the door. I'm not sure they've turned the key and locked it just yet on Jonny, but it does look as though they're trying to move on and move away from him. But beware of Jonny Bairstow. We've written him off once or twice before, and he comes back with a bang. So at this moment, I look at it and you see Moeen Ali, Chris Jordan, Chris Wokes, Rayan Ahmed, even Rayan Ahmed, young Rayan Ahmed, who's not in either of these white ball squads, who have all got contracts. And I mean, that's the biggest, we give 29 contracts out. So yes, you look at Jonny's the biggest omission, but there's also we identified, less than 12 months ago, who was going to be a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year contract. There's a couple of them big names who have been left out. Still got another year left on their ECB contract, which looks as though they're just going to have to let it run down.
I was reading Lizzie Hammond in the Times today, a profile of Jacob Bethel, one of the new lads who's been brought into the white ball setup. When he was 11 years old, Brian Lara saw him batting because he's sort of Bayesian background. And he said, "You're a better batsman than I was when I was 11." I mean, blimey, that's some pressure early on. But he's had quite the career. I mean, the family are kind of steeped in cricket. I think his granddad played club cricket in the Yorkshire leagues and stuff. So it's an interesting backstory.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a fantastic young player. There's one or two, Dan Maudsley, who Ian Bell told me about 3 or 4 years ago. Watch out for this young kid. He's a special talent, along with the likes of, we've seen Jordan Cox in the Test squad, who's now in that white ball squad. Jamie Smith's in the ODI squad. Leaving Bairstow out, you've got a 1, 2, 3, 4 of Butler, Salt, Jackson, Cox, and then you've got the all round qualities of likes of Bethel and Maudsley, who have done brilliantly for Warwickshire and for the Birmingham Phoenix. So I think what I've enjoyed this summer and this selection is that they've been rewarded for what they've done in the county game. They've enjoyed success. Birmingham have been quite successful. Warwickshire have done well in the Blast. So, the two or three talented young players who I think hopefully over this next cycle, 3 to 5 years, will take England forward. Because do you know what, boys? I mean, that's massive shoes to fill. We've said goodbye. If we have said goodbye to the likes of Jonny and Chris Wokes and one or two others. I mean, we've been, such a white ball team. The likes of Morgan and probably Stokes before that. I mean, they've got a big act to follow because the last 6 or 7 years have been unbelievable in white ball cricket for England.
Yeah, it does feel like they've taken up the opportunity of Broad's retirement and Anderson's enforced retirement to move the team on and to really lean into that transition.
Yeah, 100%, Charlie. And I look at this Test team. I mean, I'm surprised they've gone with Stone, Potts, and Atkinson. Josh Hull, forget the numbers. The numbers don't look great. I've watched him on a stream. I've watched him on TV a couple of times, and it wasn't until this year I seen him in person for the first time. He's a big lad. There's Josh Hull. He's just turned 20 last week. His feet are massive. He can never bowl no balls of the size of feet he's got. But his skill level, his release point, he's got a bit of pace. And I looked at Josh Hull when he played for Leicester against Durham when I was commentating, and I wasn't thinking this is a guy who's played 10 first-class matches and averaging 62. This is an international cricketer. This is a proper bowler. And I think over the course of the next few months, he will show that in England colours. And I would have played him in this Test match because Atkinson, Potts, Stone, very similar sort of pace, very similar trajectory. And we've seen at Old Trafford slightly that when the ball gets flat, no Mark Wood, We haven't got a point of difference. I think that tall left arm option might have been something I would have chosen at Lords.
And he was saying on the air the other day how excited he was by the prospect of our fast bowling attack in the Ashes. Yeah. And I was sort of saying,
fit,
it's keeping Mark Wood fit. And then, lo and behold, the following day. I mean, it's a bit unfortunate, really, but it is an ongoing issue. I suppose when you're bowling at 97 mile an hour, that sort of thing's going to happen.
It does the way Mark Wood bowls and when he throws himself into the ground as well. So throw Jofra into the mix. I mean, we're building a nice little pool of bowlers. I'm sure Rob Key, Luke Wright, Ben Stokes, Brendan McCullum in the test group are going, you know what, we're starting to go in the right direction for what we feel as though we need to get to Australia. The $1 million question, always, boys, is about keeping them fit. It's a bit keeping them fit. Go back to my time, that 2005 group, probably the sort of pool of fast bowlers everybody refers back to. I mean, we kept Simon Jones fit for 4 games out of 5. If we can do that for Mark Wood and Jofra Archer, we've got a chance, We've got a chance to go in there and win. And that, if we keep adding the odd one here and the odd one there, just to keep pushing them along, I think we're in a decent place at this minute in time when it comes to the quick bowling unit. And batters, well, it's up to them to score runs because batters win your games. Bowlers win your test series, and that's what we're going to need for Australia.
Yeah. Do you think Ollie Pope did himself any favours as captain? Do you think he's the next cab off the rank?
I thought he did well. I thought his field positions were good. I thought his changes were decent. I was in Manchester I was working hospitality, so I didn't see much of it. I was drunk by tea time on most of it. I thought he was. Joking aside, I thought he did really well. I mean, it's hard. I mean, we've just mentioned about young players coming into the white ball team following, that brilliant white ball era that we've just had. To walk out and captain, and off the back of Ben Stokes. I mean, that's some challenge. So good for Ollie. He's getting the experience. I thought he did quite well last week. But I thought also Sri Lanka did really well. I thought their captain was excellent. And I thought it was a good series. And I think we've got 2 very, very good, intriguing test matches to come because, Sri Lanka aren't, they're not going to lie down. I think they're giving England a good game.
Finally, bit of football. My lot play your lot, Steve, on Sunday at St James's Park. We were saying yesterday when we were chatting to Danny Kelly about the games at the weekend, been a bit of a slow start for Newcastle. Not that convincing against Southampton, although they were 10 men for a fair old time. Not the. I mean, they had their moments against Bournemouth, but it's a bit of a slow start, isn't it?
It has been. But the year we went into the Champions League, that was a pretty low start. I remember a game where we got battered at Molineux and Marlin's maximum. They built. I think they built something quite nicely that year, and I've got full faith in Eddie Howe doing that again. Transfer needs to close very, very soon to make sure we keep some of our players because I know there's. I mean, we can't lose Kieran Trippier as much as, from a personal point of view, I know what it's like, if things aren't going well sort of off the field. But on the field, he's the most professional player I've seen come to Newcastle. One of the best players I've seen come to Newcastle for a long, long time. And his standards he's set is huge. And I think we're a different team with him. So I hope that we can keep Kieran. I hope we get one in. If we don't, well, let's see. But for the team on Saturday, I think it's been slow because I think we've had a few missing, especially in the sort of defensive point of view. But let's wait and see. 75 minutes behind, 10 men behind the ball when you go 1-0 up. I think that was a fight in itself. And I think last 10, 15 minutes, we were good at Bournemouth. But apart from that, I didn't think we were very good. But I mean, when you play against the top sides, that tends to be when Newcastle are at their strongest, at their best. And I'm not going to throw misery towards you, Paul, but I remember last year, in the reporter role, my head was going to spin off after 15, 20 minutes. So I'd like to think for the Geordies, it's going to be the same. Yeah,
6-4 last time Tottenham have been to St James's Park. And got a right shoeing. So I'll be hoping that doesn't happen again. Thanks very much, Harmy. We'll catch up with you soon. All the best. See you later.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.